Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to learn how to make bacon on the griddle. We are going to be trying Smithfield's naturally hickory smoked thick cut bacon. We're going to see how this product works and how well it cooks on the griddle and what the end product is going to look like. So sit back and enjoy. First, you want to make sure your griddle is set up, and you want to make sure your grease tray is ready to catch runoff, which is something I love about the griddle because it makes it cooking the bacon splatter free, which is excellent. So first thing you want to do is you want to turn the griddle on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so as the griddle heats up, you want to start taking bacon out of the package, and you want to start laying it flat across the griddle surface. Just like so. Doesn't matter if it touches. You can pull it apart if you need to with a fork. One thing I love about the griddle is, more often than not, you can fit a whole entire package of bacon in one session of cooking. Alright, so one thing I'm noticing about this bacon is it's not pulling apart very easily. It's a little bit stuck together as I try and peel it to get it ready for the griddle. Alright, excellent. So you're going to notice almost immediately after it starts cooking, you're going to see the sizzle increase big time. You're going to notice the bacon start to bubble up, and you're also going to notice that it starts shrinking. These are all good things. I'm going to go ahead and let this cook a while, and we'll come back when it's a little bit closer and ready to flip, so to show you what you have to look for in that regard. Alright, so these have kind of slid around just a little bit, so let's adjust their position on the griddle. You can use a regular metal fork. This is a non-stick griddle. You can use a metal fork, but you just have to be careful. You don't want to scrape your non-stick surface. So you just have to adjust the bacon carefully. Listen to that sizzling. Okay, now here's a critical point in the bacon juncture. The sizzling has died down, and you can tell around the edges that it's getting much darker. So here's what you want to do. You want to take your fork, and you want to rotate it to the other side, and you'll notice that the sizzle is going to increase again. Just that one piece, you notice how as soon as I flipped it to the other side, it started to increase in sizzle. Let's go ahead and do that with all our pieces. Yeah, look at that. It's coming along very, very nicely. Getting darker. want to rotate it so that it cooks evenly. Do that with all these. Get a little bit of confidence, you can try and do 2 or 3 pieces at a time. There we go. Yeah, it's getting nice and dark. It's starting to curl up a little bit. You want to try and keep it flat on the cooking surface, like this piece right here. That piece of fat right there on the end is going to be a little bit hard to keep matted down. Okay, so we are 100% flipped at this point. You notice that the sizzling has increased once again. Those fatty ends have kind of curled up a little bit, which I don't like too much. Sometimes that happens with different brands of bacon or the different cuts of bacon, but not much we can do about it. Just try and keep it flat on the cooking surface. Make sure it cooks all the way through. Listen to that sizzle. We're coming along very nicely. All right, so a few minutes later, here we are. You can kind of tell that the sizzling is dying down again. The pieces are starting to look a little darker, but it is cooking evenly. And we're just about ready to flip again. You'll notice that the bacon on this side here is a little less cooked than the bacon over here on the right side of the griddle. That's because the source of the heat is on the right side of the griddle, and for whatever reason, the way this griddle is built, the heat is not entirely even all the way across. So you got to take that into account when you're cooking this bacon, and you can take off some of the pieces that are done, and the pieces that need just a tad bit longer, you can shift them over to the right and bring them to completion. All right, here we are again a few minutes later, and the sizzling at this point has definitely died down. You can tell that the pieces are getting ever darker. You got the nice dark red to them, which is great. They got a hue that tells you that they're getting close. So let's go ahead and flip them again. Starting on this side. And we'll see where we stand. Yeah, that guy's going to need some more. He's not quite there yet. Oh, these pieces are looking good though. Notice how when we flip them, they're a golden on the other side, a golden to dark red. That's exactly what you're looking for. A few more minutes and these pieces will be nice and crispy. As far as perfect crispiness, when it comes to bacon, it can be a little bit elusive because the pieces are kind of flabby on the griddle. As you can tell, they're kind of loose. They're just hanging there when you pull them up on the fork. Well, the crispiness actually happens after you take it off the heat source, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's keep flipping. Yeah, these are looking great. Make sure they're cooking nice and evenly. And we are just a few minutes away from being done. Okay, a few minutes later, here we are. Here's a full griddle view. You can tell that almost all the pieces are a dark golden to red hue. Sizzling has kind of died down. And they look very well cooked. Even the fatty parts that we were looking at before are starting to get a golden hue, which is exactly what we're looking to achieve here. So it's this kind of look that we're looking to get just prior to taking these off. I'm going to go ahead and flip these one more time just to make sure everything is evenly and well cooked. So let's grab our fork and go ahead and start doing that. And this one piece on the end is going to take a little bit more time. You can tell because it's just not there quite yet. It's still got that pinkish color. It isn't quite fully cooked. But as far as the rest of these are concerned, let's flip them one last time. Again, I'm using metal on a non-stick surface, which is not recommended unless you've got a lot of experience with this. I'm being very, very gentle, not scraping the metal against the Teflon. And these are looking absolutely wonderful and delicious. Okay, here we are at the point where we are ready to take these off. And now, as you can see, my fork, my flipping fork, is still off to the side. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing a second fork, and the reason for this is you do not want cross-contamination of any foodborne illness on your cooked food, meaning that I was using that fork to flip raw meat. Why would you want to reintroduce the juices of raw meat onto your finished cooked product? So grab a different fork when you're gonna take the time to serve this off on your finished platter. Some people like to put a paper towel or something that's gonna soak up the fat on the plate. I personally don't care to do that because it absorbs some of the flavor. I like to keep the fat when I'm serving up. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and serve up. Now notice that the bacon isn't 100% crispy yet. It's still hot, but it is firmer. It's a little bit more stiff as I take it off. You can tell that the color is a nice dark golden and reddish brown. That's exactly the kind of color you're looking for. That's when you know it's time to serve. All right, let's keep going and see how we do. Look at that, they come off nice and easily off the griddle. You can take 2 or 3 of them at a time. They become more firm. They transfer easily to the plate. Yeah. Beautiful. And we're gonna let this one last guy that I had trouble with cook just a minute longer, but we are essentially done. Let's see how this last guy turns out. All right, so just a minute or 2 later, that last piece came off the griddle. Let's check out our final product. Dark, golden, red, crispy, delicious bacon, ready to eat and serve up for your breakfast. Let's go ahead and see how he did. You pick it up and notice that it's now crispy, it's stiff. So now for the ultimate test. Let's go ahead and give a listen to see how I crunch on this and see how crispy it is and delicious. All right, listen in. Perfect bacon. Bon appetit, guys.